What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Early Edge. We are brought to you by BetMGM, the sports book born in Vegas. We got a great lineup for you today, but let's take a look at how our lineup did yesterday. We were trying to bounce back from a pretty bad Friday recap screen. This isn't the bounce back we were looking for. 2 wins, 3 losses. Certainly not devastating, but we're trying to get on a winning streak here. So how are we going to do it? Well, we're maybe going to do it with Liddy and Gipper's picks and JD, who's in here, and Richard Pierre and KC3. Put your picks in the chat. Put your questions in the chat, because we've got a nice little dream team right here on the Early Edge. Let's bring in the stars of the show. We're crowded today, and I always love it crowded. We got Buckets. We got Mackenzie Brooks. We got Tom Casale. We got Larry Hartstein. And Larry, somebody in the chat said we are Larry Centers days away from NFL season. I love that reference. I was going to say maybe Deion Sanders. He kind of toggled between 37 and 21. Sean Alexander days away from NFL season. Larry, how you doing today?
Well, who is number 2? Because we're 2 days away from NFL football, the Hall of Fame game, the Lions and the Chargers on Thursday night. I cannot wait for that. There's a lot of interesting backups in that game to watch. So we're actually only 2, and now I need to look up who are the famous number 2s in NFL history.
Yeah, fair enough. If you have a 37 or a 2, put it in the chat. Tom, if we're this close to NFL season, it means we're even closer to college football season. I got to think that at Casale HQ, you are like officially not just ramping up, but you're almost all in on college football at this point.
Oh, yeah. We were driving home from vacation, and I declared summer over. It's football season. Like Larry said, we're 2 days away, and once I see football on TV, that's it. It's officially football season. But hey, let's go old school. What about Lester Hayes days away for the Raiders? To show you how much the world has changed over the years. His nickname, Lester the Molester. I don't think we'd see that anymore, huh?
Wow. That's not a nickname anybody wants for sure. Mackenzie, speaking of college football, we've got we were on the network show yesterday. You had some ACC picks for us, so you're pretty invested. You're invested across the board. You have WNBA picks for us today, but you've been really looking at the college football landscape as well.
Yeah, I'm with Tom here. I fly home from Jersey August 4th, hit the studio, and kind of hit the ground running. We've definitely gotten our feet wet in college, starting to get our feet wet in the NFL. A lot of props coming our way soon. So definitely starting to get back in that football mind. Once it's August, it's game over.
Buckets, it's always soccer season, much like it's always PGA season. I know you have soccer bets. I've got a PGA bet for the Wyndham Championship today. Is this like a tricky time of the soccer year? Is this like a big time of the soccer year? Like, what part of the season are we in?
We're in technically the lull right now for the soccer season. It's kind of the slower time. That doesn't mean we don't have good games and good leagues still, but we are 17 days away from the return of the Premier League, and that's end of August, middle of August. That's when we get into a really exciting period for us.
All right, 17. Doug Williams.
That's what I was going to say. Yep.
Yeah, I figured. Sorry for I interrupted you. I stole that from you. That's on me. Okay. Well, we've got just a plethora of genres of sports today. We're going WNBA. We're going soccer. We're going MLB. We're going NFL. There's a lot going on. We'll answer your questions as well. Let's start, Mackenzie Brooks, with a couple of WNBA picks.
Yeah, I don't always give out 2 plays here, but I feel like these are vibe plays, and you can be like, oh, that means you didn't research. No, like I truly do believe this is going to happen. It's counterintuitive to what's happened, in recent history for both of these team seasons. But we're taking the first 2 dogs in the 3 matchups tonight. You have the Sky plus the 7.5, and you have the Golden State Valkyries plus the 8.5. And both of them, I think, are such live dogs. We'll start with the Sky here. Again, they have lost basically the past 5 games. They've lost against the spread the past 5 games. At some point, betting principle to me, something has to give, okay? And if it's going to give, it's very, very alive against this Washington Mystics team. The Sky get Angel Reese back. I feel like that gives them some momentum going into this game. Again, not asking them to win, but they have lost against the spread for like 5 or 6 games straight. And if you're going to at least, push for a win here, this is going to be one of those games to do it with a Mystics team that's just kind of in the middle of the pack here. Now we're going to Golden State here. Now, this is one of the best teams in the W against the spread. It hasn't been recently because they're without Kayla Thornton, their best player here. But now that they have a game under their belt without her, I feel like they can get their rhythm back. Again, not asking them to win, but 8.5 is a pretty big number. And you're looking at a dream team who just beat the number one team in the WNBA. It's giving letdown spot to me. Okay. Maybe they still win the game, but it could be close. I do see the Valkyries wanting this game. They have been so strong against the spread as a whole this season. It's certainly in their blood to cover a spread like this. So I'm looking at a letdown spot for the dream, and I'm looking for the Sky to just, at some point, something has to give here. So between the two dogs, I feel like we definitely are going 1-1 and potentially 2-0.
All right, let's go 2-0. I love taking, just as a general concept, I love that if we're going to have two picks, we're on two dogs here. Let's see how this one works out. I do want to give a shout out. A shout out's probably the wrong word. I guess I should be saying I'll give a shout out to those in the chat that are remembering Ryne Sandberg. I think some people, like, it was probably pretty surprising to see on the bottom of their scroll that Ryne Sandberg passed away. Obviously a all-time great Chicago Cub, a great person as well. Larry, Tom, I don't know if you have anything to say. I see your hand up, Larry. Obviously, Ryne, I remember Ryne Sandberg, and I just remember thinking this dude is just like the embodiment of baseball, and it felt like he was always representative of that. Larry, your thoughts?
Yeah, I need to go back and look up the game that's in my mind. But as a Cardinal fan growing up, obviously we hated the Cubs. That was the big rivalry. And Ryne Sandberg, there was a game, it was like 11-10, where he homered 2 or 3 times. Every time he came up, he broke my heart. But yeah, you got to appreciate the way that he handled his business.
It was the Ryne Sandberg game. Bob Costas was commemorating that exact game. He came on to MLB tonight, on MLB Network, I should say, last night to talk about that game that you're talking about. It was the game of the week. And he was talking about how games of the week back then were different because they really were like the only game of the week that people could actually watch. And that was the game you're referencing was a Ryne Sandberg breakout game that I believe Bob Costas was calling. Tom, any thoughts here?
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say is growing up, it was a little bit different. You see one game. A lot of times it was the Cubs and Cardinals. And I remember this is back before we had video games and cell phones. I used to go out and just throw the ball against the garage and have it come back to me for like hours. We didn't have nothing to do back in the day, right? Mm-hmm. And I always remember I always used to be Ryne Sandberg making plays because I saw him so much on those games of the week growing up that, he was one of my favorite players. So it's sad to see him go.
Absolutely. Good job, everybody, kind of reminding me of that. Absolutely loved kind of talking about Ryne Sandberg, if not just for a couple of minutes. Buckets, let's transition to, you got a couple of soccer picks, and I'm kind of cheating. I'm looking over to my left. I think I might be able to pronounce these names. Go ahead, my friend.
All right, Sia, that is plus 110 to cash Sia pronouncing these correctly.
Yeah.
So get your bets in if you believe in him. I've got 2 for us, and it is a good number. I've got some tricky ones for us. We're starting with Differdange taking on the New Saints. We've got Luxembourg against Wales here. And this is one of those unfortunate situations where I full-heartedly disagree with the books. The books have Differdange as a slight favorite here, sitting around minus 125. Not only do I think that the New Saints are good enough to at least get the draw here, but I think the New Saints are good enough to win outright. I'm taking them double chance to give myself a safety net at minus 120. They just have to draw to cash this ticket. But when you watch the first leg, Differdange were lucky to get that win. They had barely 30% possession. New Saints had 5 times the corners that they did. New Saints were all over them, but they just couldn't stay on sides. They had 5 offside calls in that matchup. If the New Saints, who is the better team and a strong team on the road, can just stay on side, I think that they keep this one very close and quite possibly pull out the win here. So I love double chance for the first bet. For our second bet, we welcome a new competition this evening. We've got the Leagues Cup, and we've got a big matchup taking place between Toluca and Columbus Crew. And this is one of those games on paper. It pisses me off because we should see 9 goals in this matchup. If you look at Toluca's opening 4 matches of the season, they've had 21 goals scored in those 4 matches, and the Crew have had 16 in their last 4. There should be goals everywhere in this match. But that scares me a little bit because both teams to score is minus 250, over 2.5 is minus 225. Rather than try to take the juice on some goals here, I'm just going with Diego Rossi to score or assist. He has been the man for Columbus this season. The Uruguayan striker has 15 goal contributions over his 24 starts, and he has scored or assisted in 4 of his last 6 matches. In a game that should see a lot of goals here, I want Diego to make an impact in this one.
Wow. It sounded like there's going to be a lot of goals in that game. It sounded like it's going to be pretty exciting. I was thinking, Buckets, when you said that, I was thinking of the Oprah thing, which is like, you get a goal, you get a goal. But then I thought, Buckets, you might not get that reference. Do you know who Oprah Winfrey is?
Come on. I know I might have not thrown the ball against the wall for hours and hours as a kid. And maybe I did play video games 12 hours a day, but I know who Oprah is.
I mean, but in your defense, if you didn't, Oprah hasn't been super relevant. Like
she was in the Scary Movie series.
Oh okay. See, that I actually didn't know. So maybe I'm that guy right now. Mackenzie,
she's an actress. She's an actress. Yeah, she's an actress.
Well, she is an actress. That's true.
Yeah.
Correct.
The guy who doesn't know the team names in the NFL is acting like that's a crazy question. It's not a legit question.
Oh man, we need to find the most famous person that Buckets doesn't know. Actually, Ben in the chat. That's obviously from Ben. Ben was at the Ryne Sandberg statue unveiling. I didn't know that. Ben, at some point in the show, if you want to pop on and say some words about that, I just think that's interesting because I know that was a big deal for Cubs fans. But before we get there, let me talk to you about a couple of BetMGM boosts today. And I say a couple for a reason. Account holders will receive an any sport parlay boost token. Just add a parlay and activate the boost. If you win your wager, you will receive extra winnings. And then we've got a BetMGM. Players will also receive an any sport odds boost token. Just make a bet on any sport and activate the boost. Score extra winnings if your wager that was made with the odds boost token wins. So a couple of different promos there. We got a lot more to get to, including the home run model picks. We got a baseball pick that I know Tom and Larry both like. We got an NFL future. We've got your questions in the chat. We got my PGA pick. Wow, it's a lot to cover. We'll do it right after this message from our partners.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ, streaming free anywhere you are.
We're back on the Early Edge, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Tom, I'm going to go to you next. I do want to remind everybody that we have 2 days left to vote for the Early Edge in the People's Choice Podcast Awards. All you got to do is, again, it's so easy. This is how to vote. It's on the screen. If you're listening to the podcast, all you got to do is go to podcastawards.com. You're going to see a blue button, like right in front of you. It's going to say sign up to vote now. You click that button, and then you put in an email and a password, which they're going to erase after voting closes. They just want to make sure you're a real person. And then you go to the category Best Male Hosted Podcast, and you click on the Early Edge. There's several other categories you can go to and vote if you want. But if you want to just do this one, it literally takes about 40 to 45 seconds, maybe less. Time yourself, see if you can do it. But again, we got 2 days left to advance the Early Edge into the finals of the People's Choice Podcast Awards. Please help us do that. And another reminder about the Early Edge, tomorrow, 2 o'clock, we've got the MLB live betting stream. If that's not cause for you to go to the podcastawards.com and vote for the Early Edge, I don't know what is. Larry, go ahead.
When you go to that site, you don't have to vote in every single category. Right. You may not be an expert on 40 different genres of podcasts like I'm not. So, but it might keep showing you that screen. But I'm telling you, once you just hit save, you will have done it and you'll get the email confirmation.
Yeah, you literally could go to the best male host. You go to the sports category, vote for Chip's podcast, Cover 3, or Fantasy Football Today. You could just vote for those 2 categories or just our category, and then you click submit and you're done. Like, that's it. You can vote for other categories too. But again, 2 days left. Please help us out and do that. All right, Tom, let's get to some more picks. Joe says he didn't vote in any other category. That's fine, Joe. Thank you for voting for us. We really appreciate that. Again, it probably took you, let us know, probably took you somewhere between 40 and 45 seconds is my guess. Tom, you've got a pick for us in baseball today. What is it?
Yeah, I mentioned I was on vacation, so I don't leave the house much. But, 1 week out of the year, I go down to the Jersey Shore. And when I do, I stay off social media. I kind of reset my mind. So yesterday I was back on. What is the first thing I see? I see that the Braves traded for Eric Fetty. And I was like, what? I mean, this doesn't make any sense. I mean, the Braves, yeah, they have injuries in their rotation, but, I don't really understand what this is going to do for their team. So he makes his debut today. I mean, there's a reason why the Cardinals wanted to get rid of him. He's been shelled in his last 5 starts. He's allowed 26 runs and 17.2 innings of work. And then you look at the other side with Seth Lugo. I mean, he's really on top of his game right now. 2 runs or fewer in 8 of his last 9 starts. The Royals are 4-1 in his last 5. I just think we're getting some value here with the Royals. I know the Braves won last night, but they're 3-7 in their last 10. Royals at home, round -125. I'll take that all day. So I'm going to fade Fetty in his first start with Atlanta.
Okay, we're fading Fetty. And I know, Larry, you've got something to say about that as well. If you don't mind, because I know you have 2 picks, can you just give out the Royals one now, and then we're going to get your NFL pick in a couple of minutes?
Yeah, the Braves are 5-16 as road underdogs, which they are today. And Eric Fetty, after his last start, after he gave up 2 400-foot home runs, basically said, my confidence is shot. It's at an all-time low. I've been awful. I don't know what's going on. And this is the guy the Braves picked up because their entire starting rotation from opening day is on the injury list. You know, maybe a change of scenery helps him a little bit, but I like Seth Lugo. He just signed the extension to stay in Kansas City. I think he obviously wants to prove that was a worthwhile move by the organization. So I'm with Tom, and I laid the price.
Okay. And I know you have an NFL future as well. Before we get to that and some of your questions or comments in the chat, I want to give out my pick. It's for the Wyndham Championship. I'm still buckling over Jake Knapp not winning last week, although there were so many people, it was up for grabs. But I've got a very intriguing outright card for the best bets show tonight at 7:00, probably going down the board. You already know I've got the Emiliano Grillo play at 80-1. I'm going to take Christian Bezuidenhout. And I've done this before in the top African market. It's plus 150. I do think that's a good number. I think some books have this as low as plus 140. I think that's fine. Effectively, this is a 4-ball. And I think it's really a 2 or 3 ball considering who else is in this market. Let me just talk about CBS real quick. He's got just the course makeup for this particular course at the Wyndham Championship, but more importantly, coming in with really good recent form. And when I say course fit, accurate off the tee, which you're going to need, wedge play is good, and he's been pretty good with the short game as well. Who's he up against? Tristan Lawrence, who, if you heard me talk about Tristan Lawrence, you know I like this guy quite a bit. He has no experience here, which shouldn't hurt him too bad, but the game has been a little off and on over the last 3 or 4 tournaments. So while I do think he has upside, it's not somebody I'm comfortable taking in this market. The other 2 guys, EBR and Higo, have bad history here, and they just haven't been playing well at all. Seabez, out of the 4, has been by far the most consistent player, is by far the best course fit, and by far has the best course history here. So I think plus 150, even plus 140, if that's where you get it. I think it's a very fair number. Give me Seabez as top African at the Wyndham Championship. Of course, this starts Thursday morning. We have football starting on Thursday as well, as Larry informed us. And so that means we got to keep on with the NFL futures. Larry, talk to me about Isaiah Pacheco.
Yeah, we were on the network yesterday getting into the Kansas City Chiefs. And when I looked at Isaiah Pacheco, he was terrible last year. He broke his fibula and he came back the same season. He wasn't the same. The whole running game was really not that explosive. But this is a guy, if you remember, ran a 4.37 40. This is a guy who was 216 pounds and very powerful, had a very good first 2 seasons, averaging 4.7 yards a carry. His second season, that's just 2 seasons ago, 2023, 7 rushing touchdowns in the regular season, 3 more in the playoffs. Looking at 4.5 rushing touchdowns to go over that, to me, is a very good bet. Andy Reid was saying this guy looks tremendous. He's put on some weight that he lost last year. He's back up to the playing weight that he had when he came in from college. He looks powerful. He looks fast. So all the signs are good. I mean, I'm not so worried about Kareem Hunt. They did draft a guy. They also have Elijah Mitchell. So there are a bunch of backs there, but Pacheco and Kareem Hunt are absolute locks. And then the rest of the guys are going to fight for that 3rd spot. Pacheco over 4.5 when this is a guy who has scored, I believe, 17 or 18 rushing touchdowns in about 2 seasons of full games. I love it. I really love it.
So we had that Kansas City Chiefs profile. And if for those of you that haven't noticed on the SportsLine YouTube channel, what's happening with those team-by-team betting profiles is we're doing it on CBS Sports Network, but the fine producers are cutting it up and they're putting it onto the YouTube channel. So if you haven't really looked out for that, you can find a ton, and they're still coming, a ton of team-by-team betting profiles where we talk about win totals and favorite props per team and division winners and things of that nature. Larry, I want to follow up with you because one thing we did talk about was the Chiefs' 11.5 win total. And I don't think we have a pick here because, and it's just something I want to discuss. You kind of thought that that's probably a pretty efficient number, right?
Yeah, I mean, slightly over. They only have 7 true road games because the first game is in Brazil and they only have 8, and that's officially a road game for them against the Chargers. So 7 true road games. Patrick Mahomes has never won fewer than 11 games in his 7th season as a starter. Andy Reid, always goes over 10-2 with the Chiefs. Plus, if the receivers are healthy, those are 3 very explosive weapons that the Chiefs only had one of those guys on the field last year in Xavier Worthy.
Fair to say that if there is a major blemish, it continues to be the offensive line for Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, losing Joe Thuney, that's a big deal. Obviously, they're not going to get so fortunate as they did last year, winning every one-score game, field goals off the crossbar, field goals getting blocked the other way, 4th and 16 pass interference. Whatever they needed, they got it in the last minute. So that's not going to continue. But they probably still win 2/3 of those because that's what Reid and Mahomes do.
That is what they do. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're only at 20 minutes. We got like 5 minutes left at least. There's AMAGs in the chat, by the way, and we're I would say relative to other shows, we're lighter on MLB picks. So ask AMAGs anything you want. This is the benefit of watching this show live is sometimes guys like AMAGs and whoever, Brasco, sometimes Mackenzie is in the chat, Larry's in the chat while the show is going on. Sometimes they're not on the show. So ask AMAGs anything you want. He's going to be a part of that live stream tomorrow at 2:00. Mackenzie, I have a football question for you. Tom, I'm going to have follow-up with you, and then we're going to get some soccer questions out buckets as well that I see in the chat. Mackenzie, yesterday on the network show, you were talking to me about the ACC. I saw a question in the chat about Clemson to win the ACC. And when we were doing that segment yesterday, they were plus 120. You saw value down the board a little bit, yes?
Yeah, I think that with the ACC, it's worth sprinkling on 3 different teams down the board. And if you get to the ACC and one of them are in it, you can hedge with Clemson too. But I seriously think SMU, Louisville, and Georgia Tech are so alive to win the ACC. And they're all like, if you shop around, 10-1, 13-1, like crazy, crazy odds. I don't think Clemson is that much head and shoulders above those teams, especially SMU. Everyone has this bad perception of them after what happened in that first round of the playoff. This isn't about the playoffs, right? We're just asking them. This is about your regular season and about the ACC championship. So they return so much production. Georgia Tech does as well, Louisville as well. I just think between the 3 of them at the prices, you want to sprinkle all 3 here. I think any 3 are very, very alive.
Okay, so we got 3 there to talk about. Any follow-up there? I don't know how much you've studied the ACC, Tom, but any of those teams jumping out at you?
Yeah, I understand Mackenzie's point. A while back, I gave out Clemson to win it all at, around 16, 17-1. They've been a popular pick over the summer. I didn't know that was going to happen. I think they're down to like 12-1. I don't like that price. The reason I like them at a longer price is they're if you look at all the favorites to win the championship outside of Penn State, they're all starting new quarterbacks. Some of the quarterbacks are young. This is a couple of years ago, I liked Michigan for this reason. They were returning McCarthy. They had an experienced team. Clemson has an experience and probably their most talented team in a while under Dabo. I agree with Mackenzie that I could see a Georgia Tech or an SMU in the championship game, and then that we're talking months down the road. So you're looking for value right now. But I do think this is a strong Clemson team, and I'll say this. They got that first game against LSU. I mean, if they win that one, the reason I liked them as a national championship future, I don't know how they don't get in the field. And as we saw last year with Notre Dame, if you get in, you don't know what's going to happen. Georgia's down there starting quarterback. Notre Dame got a good draw. So that was kind of my theory of taking Clemson at that number. But at 12-1, that's too short for me now.
All right. Let's transition to some soccer. And of course, I do need to get the home run props up there. So stay tuned for that. Buckets, it looks like there's a smattering of soccer questions, which I can point out to you, but there was smattering. Were there any that jumped out to you before I get to some of these questions in the chat?
No, get to the questions.
Okay, so Steve Folkert says Chelsea plus 850 to win EPL. That's the best value in his opinion. Any thoughts there? Looks like you don't like it.
No, I don't hate it. I actually have kind of a silly, goofy little bet of Liverpool to win the league and Chelsea to finish second at plus 2,300 as a future. Liverpool is monstrous this season. They have spent £300 million, which is something Liverpool does not do on new pickups after already being the best team. Chelsea has the potential to be good, but I don't think they have the potential to win. Steve, I get the bet. I get the look. It's worth a sprinkle, but I am so pro team Liverpool. It's not even funny this year.
All right. I'm pro Giuseppe Maracino because I just think that's such a cool name. He says, how do we feel about a Red Star first half goal ladder, or maybe just their first half team total over 1.5?
I absolutely love that bet. It was going to be one of my bets for the show, but I didn't want to have to do 3 because we had so many people on. Red Star won the first leg 1-0 on the road and should be embarrassed by that victory. Everyone is predicting they are going to win the second leg at home 5-0, 6-0, 7-0. It could be a bloodbath against a Lincoln Red Imp side that is just going to try to survive. I think 1.5 team total first half all the way up to 3.5 total first half is definitely going to be worth a sprinkle here.
Okay, and let's get a WNBA question here. Jeff Stewart wants to know Sparks money line Mackenzie at plus 110. Any thoughts there?
You can catch the Aces on a bad night any night. Honestly, I wish it was a little better value, if I'm being honest. I mean, there's a reason it's a pick 'em. You get Cameron Brink back. I don't love the price. I think you should be getting a prettier price than plus 110.
Okay. Let's get to the home run props, and then I have one more question for Larry from Rick Funkin. And let's see the home run props. And Mackenzie, I don't know if you have any follow-up here, but SportsLine model top MLB home run plays. Alex Bregman, SportsLine odds, plus 350. The real odds, plus 450. Casale Marte, plus 310 versus plus 450. And Matt Wallner, plus 368 versus plus 450. Mackenzie, any thoughts on these 3?
Yeah, Casale Marte, he's kind of like our junior Caminero who we hit on yesterday that just always typically makes this board and is pretty good to us. Alex Bregman just seems to be hitting dingers. Like, I think he's had a home run in his past 2 games. The game before that, he had 3 hits. So he's someone seeing the ball well, and he has a majority of his home runs against right-handed pitchers here. So he's put in a pretty good spot today.
Okay, and I'm noticing also, I'm giving out the SportsLine model plays, but of course, these are the inside the lines plays as well, right, Mackenzie?
Right. All the same umbrella here. You know, we're trying to at least brand our team of me, Jake, and Steven and Taft inside the lines, but all, backed by the SportsLine model, which we've been doing for years.
All right. Absolutely love it. Now, Larry, the question I have for you before we get to the recap screen is as follows. It's from Rick Funkin, and he says, hey, when can we expect week 1 NFL bets and really anything else that we're going to have pertaining to the regular season?
Yeah, I know RJ White and a couple of others have already posted a few on SportsLine. I'd like to wait until that one meaningful preseason game is over just to make sure no bad injuries happen, when the real players get in there. So I'm going to usually wait till about 2 weeks before.
Okay. Waiting for about 2 weeks before, which, by the way, we're very close to. I think we covered a lot of the questions. We're almost at 30 minutes, so we're probably going to go ahead and try to get out of here. I see some of your picks in the chat. Ray Brown says Cards money line. A lot more picks in the chat. A lot of sharp people in the chat, so make sure you pay attention there. And again, we've got the live stream tomorrow at 2 o'clock, the MLB live stream, and of course the Bets show for the Wyndham Championship tonight at 7. Here are your picks. Top African Christian Bezuidenhout at plus 150 at the Wyndham Championship. Then we go to buckets. New Saints, double chance, minus 120. And Toluca versus Columbus Crew, Diego Rossi, TSOA to score or assist at minus 110. I got it, buckets. Thank you so much for giving me easy pronunciations. Isaiah Pacheco, over 4.5 rushing touchdowns, minus 130. That one courtesy of Larry Hartstein. And of course, he's going Royals money line today as well. And so is Tom Casale, anywhere between minus 123, minus 125. Maybe because of these picks, it gets up to minus 130. I'm assuming you guys are okay with that number as well. Valkyries plus 8.5 at minus 110. That one courtesy of Mackenzie Brooks. She's also on the Sky plus 7.5 at minus 110. And then we got the home run picks. Maybe we'll throw those up there one last time. We've got Alex Bregman, Casale Marte, and Matt Wallner. No SportsLine picks today, but we'll have SportsLine picks tomorrow. And tomorrow is going to be crazy because, of course, we've got the 10 o'clock early edge, but then we've got the 2 o'clock show as well. And then, of course, the 4 o'clock live chat. It's going to be me and Mike McClure on that one for the Wyndham Championship tomorrow. That's always a very, very good show. Subscribe, says Brad Morris. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Thank you, Buckets. Thank you, Mackenzie Brooks. Thank you, Tom Casale. Thank you, Larry. And thank you, Ben, on the 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s. Let's have a great day, everybody. Stay positive. Let's get a good recap screen tomorrow. We rest our case.